Even though I had all these people telling me not to do it, I wrote a 35-page document with pictures in it, with emails, everything you could think of, trying to sue my former employer for laying me off. So you've been laid off and you're extremely upset. And you're so mad because you put so much work into that job and it seemed like all the work you did for them meant nothing. What's up, it's Gene. This word to be great. I want to talk to you about personal development after being laid off. Because if you're a millennial right now and you've been laid off, or you're Generation Z, maybe you haven't had a job yet, or maybe you're somebody that had a job and you've been laid off, you will be able to feel what I'm talking about. So let's talk about the most important things you must do after you've been laid off. So in 2010, I had the unfortunate fate of being laid off. And just like you, I got caught off guard. I did not expect it. It was right after I applied for a management position. And so when I was laid off, I was like in a daze, like, is this really happening? So I made some major mistakes in the beginning that I want to encourage you not to make, or you may be in a process right now of doing so. And the first thing is do not stay angry. See, when I was laid off and I got home and started thinking about it, and I was like, oh my God, this happened. And I started thinking about all the work I did for that organization. I felt unappreciated. I was humiliated. What I decided to do is sue the actual organization. Now, I didn't know nothing about law, legality, or anything. But I went down to the EOC and I said that they discriminated against me. They laid me off. I don't think it's fair. And see, that's what you do when you get laid off. Your emotions get the best of you. You start justifying your anger, which in most situations it is justified. But that can lead you down a very dark path and you can become consumed with that anger. So I went down there and I told her my case. I told her why I wanted to sue. The lady kept pressuring me. She kept saying to me, hey man, you just got laid off. You need to just move on. But I didn't want to hear that. I want to sue. I want them to pay. I even had friends was telling me, Gene, let this go. You know, they laid you off. They don't want you back. And one of my friends tried to approach me logically. He's like, Gene, what do you expect to get out of this? Do you expect them to hire you back after being laid off? Do you really expect them to hire you back after you went down there and tried to file a lawsuit? I said, I don't care. So even though I had all these people telling me not to do it, I wrote a 35-page document with pictures in it, with emails, everything you could think of, trying to sue my former employer for laying me off. When I started thinking about it, I was like, Gene, you wasted your time, man. You angry. You know, there's so many opportunities out there in the world. You know, there's some things you could do. Why would you want to go work for a job that don't want you work anymore? So I want to encourage you, whoever you are. I know you've been laid off. You're frustrated. You're angry. But do not waste time standing in your anger. Let yourself be angry for a day, a couple days, even a couple weeks if you need to. But in that process, do not let that anger consume you to the point that you start making irrational decisions. I want to talk to you about some things you can do while you're laid off that will be very, very beneficial. And number one is to explore interests. Now, when I had all this time on my hands and I was on unemployment and I was, applying for jobs, I started thinking about other things I've always wanted to do. And one of the things I wanted to do is in-home personal training. That was an interest that I had, but I wasn't sure if it was something that I would love to do. I started, reaching out to people with flyers and stuff, telling them I had a personal training business. I reached out to some of my former patients that I used to rehab and told them what I was doing. And I got some clients that way, and I was driving all over the city and I was going to people's home and I was doing personal training. What I discovered in that process that I did not like it. It was just it wasn't my thing. So if you have something that you may be interested in doing, this is a good time to explore those interests while you're unemployed, because this can lead to you finding a passion. Maybe you can start a new business. Maybe you can find a new thing that you may be interested in, and that can help move you down the path or maybe find another career that you may be interested in. The second thing I want to say is fill your mind with personal development materials, videos, audio books, you name it. One thing I did is when I was laid off is that I noticed that my mind was very negative. It was clouded with pessimistic, thoughts. So I started reading books. I read The Power of Positive Thinking again by Norman Vincent Peale. I started listening to audiobooks. I started looking at YouTube videos that dealt with personal development. And as a matter of fact, you could get my book, Word to Be Great. This would be a great tool, especially when you're trying to develop new skills and go out and look for different jobs, because it can help you to stay disciplined as you're pursuing that. But yeah, I want to encourage you to make sure that you keep your mind filled with personal development. Focus on you. Focus on developing yourself, because when you focus on reading books and maybe getting new certifications, it'll allow you to develop more skill and knowledge so you can put yourself back there in the market to find a better job, a better career, or start your own business. But this is a great time to develop yourself. Not falling in the trap of feeling sorry for yourself will be a great thing for you. And what broke me of me feeling sorry for myself when I was laid off is when I went to this, I think it was at this workforce, they had this thing called the Job Club. And I went to this job club, and it was filled with people that had been laid off of their careers. And as we was having conversations, I realized that we was all, feeling sorry for ourselves. We all were in self-pity. And one thing they did at the job club is they had this little bell in the middle of the floor, and it was hundreds of people in there, and it was this little circle space that you could walk up to. And what the bell was designed for is if somebody got a job interview or a new job, they would announce to everybody in the job club, and then they would go up and ring the bell. And I remember one day I was there, one person out of 200 some people had got a job. He ran up and rang the bell, and people was slowly clapping, they was clapping depressively. And I remember thinking what in the world am I doing? Why am I in here with these people feeling sorry for myself? So I immediately left that job club, and I started focusing on personal development, because I realized at that moment that it's not going to help me, just like it's not going to help you feel sorry for myself. I need to put myself in a position to take advantage of more opportunities out there in the world, or create some opportunities for myself. And the greatest way to do so is through personal development. And the last thing I want to say is building your networking skills. I think that when I was unemployed, I developed the greatest networking skills, because I started getting out, going to different organizations, going to networking events, going to job fairs. And it put me in a position where I was meeting people, giving them my resume. And that really helped me develop my skills when it pertains to talking to strangers. So if you laid off right now, you can go online and go to a meetup event. I think they still got that app, and go and meet strangers, meet people, start to connect with people, because what will eventually happen is you'll start meeting people that tell you about this job or that job. And when I was networking, that's how I wound up doing 33 temp jobs. Most of those jobs came from me meeting other people. And by working on those networking skills, it allowed me to become a good communicator. So if you laid off right now, and you probably sit at home every day thinking to yourself, nobody won't hire me, no opportunities coming my way. Well, one thing you can do for yourself is get out there and network. Go and meet people. Make sure you're putting yourself in a position to get to know more people, because in today's market, just like it was in the past, the greatest way to get a job or a new opportunity is by knowing someone. So these are the ways you can, engage in personal development after being laid off. And I know this is not an easy time for you. I know it's tough when you get laid off. I know you're disappointed, you're angry. But the bottom line is there's nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can do is to work on you. Work on your skills, work on your knowledge, so you can put yourself in a better position in the future, and you can start building the life you want, because you are worthy to be great. Hey, if you like this video, I want to ask you to like and share this video. Also, hit that bell so anytime I post a new video, you're notified. And I also want to ask you to join my Word to Be Great newsletter. This newsletter is designed to help you build your self-worth, your self-discipline, your self-confidence, so you can pursue your dreams. So click the link below and join my newsletter today.